Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Samia. I am a multidisciplinary artist from London and this is my sketchbook tour. Details of things that I used are going to be in the description box. The front of the book is covered in stickers from people who are very close to me. The sticker at the bottom is VK Girl Creations. One of my students is called Victoria from Texas and she runs a creative business of her own. I'm very proud of her. The other stickers of all these flowers and even the ice cream and the fruit, those are from another one of my students. Her name is Oriana from Virginia. Oriana and her mum put together a really lovely care package that arrived on my birthday. I did end up having that illness on my birthday this year in 2023. I couldn't go out. All of these things made it super festive indoors for me. I did cry upon receiving it. I felt very loved, hence why I've stuck this bit of tape that says love. That's just my own washi tape. I don't actually remember where that washi tape is from. This is my first sketchbook of art that I have kept since I was a child. I am a 33-year-old multidisciplinary artist. I do sell my art in my online store, and this is me kind of dedicating more time to my art practice to build it into my business more, but predominantly just for me as well. In February of 2023, I was in bed for a week. That's why this sketchbook really came into play, because I was so bored lying down. I decided to use art as a distraction. It was kind of a blessing in disguise. I don't think I would have been keeping consistent sketchbook practice. Most of this sketchbook was completed during that week, 2 weeks of isolation. This first painting was started before I had that illness, and it's in my older style. It was before I had a few revelations. It was a still here, still life prompt. This sketchbook has been filled in the wrong order. So this is after I started to learn things. This first line work drawing is of Epping Forest in the UK, trying to experiment with how can I make this look like a forest without getting too tight. It's actually much harder to simplify and abstract things than you would think. Had done these flower doodles. I went back and did this checkerboard pattern, pink and green combo. I remember that was a colour theory combo that I was really into. This is when I started to draw or paint faces. I'm holding the pen at the top. I'm using a Posca paint marker. Try to draw most of this in one single line. And then I've gone back in, and some of it I'm not even looking down, I can tell. I think I did look down, but some of it I didn't look down, like around the mouth. And the whole outside of this man, the outer line, that's definitely all one line. Then I did the inside face in another line. And then I added some colour pencil. This reminds me of Jesus, and I just do love how loose that is and the marks within it. Then we have another page where there is just clouds. These clouds are from me needing a break from trying to learn how to be loose. I'm just here playing with a simple pattern of clouds. Here's another one of Epping Forest, and I think this is my second one. I learnt from the first one that you don't need so many lines, and it was getting super busy, so I tried to pick out one or two trees. So this is a figure. I used to draw humans, predominantly women, when I was a child. So I don't think I've drawn figures since the year 2004. To my surprise, I was like, even though I haven't drawn people since then, it looks very similar to how I used to draw, but much better as well. Just through me having an interest in art and being a visual practitioner has kept my skills up. It's so strange, isn't it? So I just took pencils and made all these marks on her face and her hand. I just felt like I've got nothing to lose, so I might as well. This one, I believe I was becoming tired, right, because I'm ill. So I'm like, oh yeah, let me try and be free from referencing and just like draw from my mind like I used to as a child. So all I did was draw an outline of the river and the mountains and the sun. I was like, oh, I don't like it. I think I left it for ages, and then I added all the colours. I went in and I used pencils, gave it some time. I really like this piece now. Oh my god, I think I love this. I don't normally say that. Oh my god, I think this is when I was like falling in love with the process. So this is made with a Posca marker. It was all in one line. I was looking down at the page, but it is all in one line of a Posca marker. posca, so I never took the posca off the page, and that was my one rule. And once I finished, I really loved it. I love blue and orange as a like color theory combo, so I went in and I added the orange. This is when I was like, oh wait, I think I love this. Next page, I put down color. When I make something good, I then start feeling scared. Oh my god, can I do that again? I do things like this in order to break free from that. So I started to search like art for when you're sick. I found two creators that I really like. One of them is called Tiny Little Air, and then the other one, Sandy Hester. Sandy said it's really useful to swatch everything you have so that you actually know what you have in your collection of art supplies. And I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. I'd never done that before, so how else do you know what you own and what colours you own and how they work and all these things? I binged all of Sandy's channel while I was sick. That's what got me to like start drawing and like drawing and painting in bed, kind of like a crazy person. I would forget that I'm sick for a while. When you're in that kind of hyper focus, you kind of forget how your body feels. She also makes these charts in her sketchbook in order to get her to be less precious with the pages. So those were two ways it applied to me, really. Because I was so inspired by those faces I had done earlier, I was like, oh, I want to continue with this. In this face, continue to do the single line method where I don't remove the paint marker off the page for the whole of the portrait. And then I decided I'm going to use my pastels to experiment with them. And I went in and coloured her lips and the earrings and the blazer and her hair. And maybe I thought I didn't like it. I can't remember my feelings towards this one, but I do like it now that I'm looking at it. It's nice. And then on the right hand side of that page, I decided I wanted to completely different method, which is not looking down at the page at all. I chose an orange marker. This is Iris Apfel. She's a fashion Instagram person. She over accessorizes beautifully. I was just looking at her photo and not at the page, and I did remove the pen off the page because I think it's interesting when you're not looking down. Then we move into probably my favorite two in the whole of this sketchbook. These two pastel portraits. I think, so my goal was to render them like them, but I tend to overwork things. I believe I was watching Sandy and she was saying she tries to work fast in order not to get too swept up in the details and getting bogged down. I have also a huge interest in colour theory. I did the colourful one first. They do really look like the people. I really loved the primary colours and how they all work together and how few lines I had to use. Not just likeness, but also liveliness to them. Like, I feel like they're alive. And then I did the one on the left with a cool colour palette. Personally prefer bright colours, but I think they're both really good. So this is a face I did after I got better and I went back to work and everything. So then my creative brain was turned off. I felt a huge block. I forced myself to draw this and I do like it. However, I do believe the blue of the background is battling too much with the yellow and the green. So we do lose a bit of depth. So this landscape is from a photograph of Windsor, England, and I remember sitting by this water. I think it was a pond, and I was just sitting on a log. I was painting it. It's not this painting. So here are these old markers. They're like for kids, and I was like, how do I make something? I feel like you can see my frustration in the marks. In like the way I have marked the paper. Don't like putting time into something that doesn't turn out the way I want it to, but that is the key. At least I did it and I'm glad I did. Then I did another colour chart of my watercolour gouaches and watercolours. I forgot about these when I was making my earlier colour charts of all the materials I have. Here is a drawing of something that I used to draw all the time as a child. Who remembers lying on the carpet on your belly with your colour pencils and your friends and your paper in front of the TV set with the cartoons? I just wanted to remember what that was like when I didn't really care about the outcome. Just so excited to be like, yeah, I'm going to draw this thing again. I'm not sure, but I felt like maybe this one was the first one I did when I was trying to break my fear of having a break from my art sketchbook and also the card and the faces. But actually, I'm not sure. And I remember thinking, oh, like I should have warmed up. But actually, I really like this now. So this landscape scene is the same one, exactly the same one as the one I did in the markers where I was very angry and upset about wasting my time. I didn't like this when I did it. I actually really like this now. So after I did the marker one, I was like, immediately, I have to do this again. I know I can do it better. I'm going to do it in materials that I actually like using, blah, blah, blah. And I remember thinking, oh, I haven't used the right colours or something about it isn't quite working. But now I'm looking at it, I really like it. Like, I understand there's water behind the tree branches that are falling in front of me. There's earth and land in the foreground and tufts of plants and grass that's coming out of the ground. Yeah, I like it. Interesting what time does. Okay, the 10th of Feb. What's hilarious is that when I was lying down, I couldn't, because I was literally laying down and then drawing, and I wasn't holding the sketchbook up in any way. It was flat on top of me. The perspective became warped, and that's why these flower petals are so much longer, because I couldn't tell lying down that they were becoming longer. And I think that is so interesting and so telling of that day in my life and of that time in my life, and I absolutely love it. And here I am, basically I was like, oh, I always draw flowers from the mind, you know, like my flowers that I draw from my imagination. And I was like, why don't I just look at some botanicals and do some botanical drawings, and whilst also remaining loose. So that was my goal. So I think I really did that here, and I really love it. I just love how the whole spread works, how there's a little frog on a little flower and a ladybug, you know, there's flower buds and the underneath of a flower and the inside of a flower. I just remember loving this. Like, I remember having a good time drawing it, but also just loving the end result. Then I was like, oh, let me draw something I've never drawn before. So I tried to draw birds. I think I have once done an oil pastel drawing of a bird, just a quick one in a sketchbook somewhere. I have no idea what that is now. Other than that, I have zero recollection of ever having drawn a bird. So this is the first time I've drawn birds. I remember I didn't like it, like the result. I remember thinking the one on the left turned out badly, something about the proportions maybe. I'm not sure. But now I look at this spread, I really like it. So not really sure what I was on about. Oh, I've just spotted. I did a third bird at the bottom here, and I must have hated that. I really wish I could see that now. And then I did the one on the right second, which you can see came out much better because I was a bit more warmed up. Then I was getting into drawing inanimate objects. I just had an idea, all these objects that I recall South Asian households having in the 1990s. Absolutely loved doing this. And I think I remember thinking this was amazing. And I had such a great time. Each time I drew something, another memory would pop into my head. In the 1990s sometime, probably 96. I just remember being tiny, very tiny, probably like, you know, my head meets the sink kind of height. And loads of cousins, we would have a lot of big family gatherings. I just remember like full-blown adult giants. Arms are flying everywhere. People are grabbing the Astral moisturizer. Someone else is grabbing the Vaseline. Someone else is grabbing the comb. Someone else is grabbing like the Pond's cream or the Old Spice aftershave. And I just remember this liveliness and vibrance, and like remember laughing but not really understanding what the joke was. And I feel like this is what this spread represents to me. I went to an exhibition of some student art graduate show, and this bit of abstract painting really spoke to me, so I just stuck that in so I wouldn't forget. And I think I stuck this colourful flower thing in because I was like, ooh, that's kind of abstract and also colourful, two things that I really like. So for my birthday I received these lovely alcohol markers, so I was just testing them. I think they make beautiful marks. We didn't realise that they're the ones that bleed through. I didn't know what to do with the bleed through, so I was like, oh, I'll just draw some stuff that I don't really care about. Here's another spread. It doesn't really have a theme. On the left hand side it was just random things that I could see, like my inhaler and my tiger balm, and like an earring. There's always earrings everywhere and scissors. And then I was like, started to draw food, and then all of the right hand side of the page is afternoon tea themed, which I absolutely love. I love afternoon tea and tea in general. I was thinking, I feel like they're two different things, but obviously it's one spread. But maybe I should do another afternoon tea spread on a paper without any bleed through. That might be cool. Ooh, my heart folk. So heart folk are people that I invented years ago. So for many years I have been just randomly drawing different hearts who have different personalities, and I called them heart folk. And for the last 2 or 3 years, every time Valentine's Day comes around, before Valentine's Day, I'm like, ooh, I'll make some stuff for my shop. Each year it comes and goes because I'm always so busy with other work. So this year I just thought, okay, perfect doesn't exist. I'm just going to get it out there and release it in time for Valentine's Day. And then, so I painted it in gouache. I created a sticker sheet called Heart Folk, which you can purchase off my online store. And I do deliver internationally as well. I've had a lot. Most of my orders were from America, actually. So yeah, I do have a few still in stock. And once they run it out, let me know if I should restock them. This is, again, part of that earlier card series where I was drawing faces on the card after I had a break from making art in my sketchbook. And I absolutely love this one. I can tell that I did not start off with her, hence why I think I really love her. She's quite loose. The pastels really pop on this one. I will say that they are more, what I noticed in hindsight is that they are more tight than my original faces that I was doing. That's just because I had such a big break from making art. Finally, I have a very old watercolour palette, which is not of best quality watercolours, but I still like to use everything I have. So I swatched that, and you can see how the quality of the colours compared to my other watercolours that I own. Still enjoyable though. And then I had my final face that I did. And with this one, I remember, I think I started somewhere completely different. I think I normally start with the eyes, and I think I started with the nose this time just to see what would happen. And I definitely did make her eyes too far apart, but I really don't mind. Like, I actually really like this. Obviously, when I first did it, I was like, oh no. But now I'm like, no, I'm into it. It's nice. And there we have it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below how you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all those things. And I'll leave my class fundraiser on the screen. And I'll see you next week. Bye.